Okay, here's a little video on Pythagoras, the school at Athens, and music. So first of all, the Pythagorean Theorem. Here's a postage stamp, a little picture of Pythagoras, diagram over here in the corner that you could use to start a proof of the Pythagorean Theorem if you wanted to. Here's the Pythagorean Theorem written in words. Here's a little right triangle with sides A, B, and C. And the relationship between these sides, according to the Pythagorean Theorem, is that c squared is equal to a squared plus b squared. So if you have a right triangle, then this is the relationship between the sides, and if this is the relationship between the sides, you must have a right triangle. So that's the Pythagorean theorem, probably the oldest theorem in mathematics and the most famous theorem in mathematics. So let's take a look and see when Pythagoras lived. Here's a little timeline. Over here's present day. You can see down here is Pythagoras, about 540 BC. So here's Pythagoras, Plato, Zeno, Euclid, some of the Greek philosophers in this area right here. And here is a fresco that you can see in the Vatican called the School at Athens. It painted around the year 1510. It is supposed to be a depiction of all the ancient Greek philosophers. And if you look down here in the corner, this is supposed to be a depiction of Pythagoras. Let's take a closer look. Okay, so Pythagoras here at the School of Athens is explaining something to the people around him. Well, what is he explaining? Well, it turns out that the Pythagoreans were the first people to notice the relationship between notes on a musical scale and ratios of simple whole numbers, like 1 to 1, 2 to 1, 2 to 3, 4 to 5, things like that. So here's a woodcut from the year 1492 that shows Pythagoras here with a bunch of different flutes of different lengths, each associated with one of the whole numbers. So you can see 8, 16, 6, so on and so forth. Over here, Pythagoras has a stringed instrument, and he's playing some of the strings. Each of those strings is associated with one of the whole numbers. So the Pythagoreans found out or realized, or were the first people to discover, that the relationships between notes on a musical scale that were in harmony with each other always followed ratios of simple whole numbers. So let's go back to the school at Athens. Here's Pythagoras. What is he explaining to the people around him? He's explaining that relationship that the Pythagoreans discovered between the notes on a musical scale and the ratios of simple whole numbers. This diagram has part of that relationship in it, and that's what he is explaining to the people around him. So if you're a music major, or maybe you're in a band, or you just have a passion for music, and you find yourself sitting in an algebra class somewhere wondering what this has got to do with you, well, here's a relationship between music and the oldest theorem in all of mathematics.